Well, thank you, Stephen. We're coming further and closer to the end of the journey. My time is very quick. When we started this process a year ago, we said we need a vision, we need some strategies, but we don't want it to end there. We have to implement. And Doug Webster and I have been talking, and we realize that the definition of implementation today is maybe a little bit different than what it was when we started. You know, I believe in measure twice, cut once. And I think that's the process that a lot of the folks who have been part of this have said. Because as we've gone through this last year, a lot of folks have said, we gotta move, gotta do something. You know, let's ready, shoot, aim. But the reality is we can't do that as a region. We have to make sure we're ready. And from the show of hands, we're ready. But we've got to make sure that we are ready for the long haul. Not ready for 3 months or 6 months, but for a year or 5 years or 10 years. So how are we going to do that? Well, one, we've got to all believe that we can do it. And I think we're starting to see that. We know it's hard, but we would have done it by now. But we've got to keep working. We've got to be intentional. So our next steps are to continue to refine what has been done, to add additional work, to understand the implications of specific efforts, or if we do this or we don't do that, you know, really continue to understand that. To assess how we work together or not. Because I think getting everybody in the room has been really important, but keeping everyone in the room and keeping everyone working together is going to be critical, because we have to collaborate and we have to act. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Leesa Owens with Michelin, and then Keith Scott with Electric City Transit. And as they come up, I want to thank a special group of people who have been critical throughout this process, and that's our core team. We recognized the advisory committee earlier, but we've had a core team of folks, and it has included the 3 Keiths, Keith Brockenden, Keith Scott, and Keith Moody. It has included our trio from Spartanburg, Kelly, Sherry, and Leesa, Doug Webster, and myself, and Adeline from our office, and then the folks from Kimberly Horn. So if those folks would please rise, and we can give you all one more. Leesa Owens, and then Keith Scott, and then Sue Stoddard will get us out of here. But again, thank you all for being here today, and I look forward to continuing this journey together.
Thank you, Dean. Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Michelin North America to continue the discussion on this regional strategic mobility plan. And more importantly, it's nice to look out in the audience and see so many familiar faces from our civic, public, community, foundation partners. So thank you all for coming here today to be a part of this discussion. And Dean, again, thank you to you and your team for having the leadership to bring us together and continue the conversation. I want to start by, talking a little bit about the Michelin story. Over 40 years ago, Michelin moved to North America, and today we employ 21,000 employees between the United States and Canada. We have 10 facilities right here in South Carolina with 9,000 employees, 6,000 right here in the upstate. We were originally attracted to South Carolina by the technical school program and the strong work-ready labor force it provided. However, the innovative public, private, and civic partnerships across the region which support doing business in South Carolina is what sustains Michelin's continued investment in the state. At each of our companies, we have a mission. And Michelin's mission is not just to make tires, brown and black tires. Our mission is to lead the way in responsible, sustainable mobility. Michelin feels a great sense of responsibility for its many different stakeholders that impact our company. Our employees, our customers, our communities, and we also feel a responsibility to giving people a better way forward. This is expressed in Michelin's sustainable growth strategy to be an innovative, high-performance, responsible leader in sustainable mobility and to respect the environment and human rights. We are committed to partnering with many stakeholders to co-design practical solutions for development and mobility issues. A couple weeks ago, I was in a meeting here, and there's actually a few of you in the room that was in that same meeting. And in the meeting, I learned the world's first gasoline-powered automobile accident occurred in Ohio City, Ohio in 1891. James William Lambert was involved in the first automobile accident in American history. Lambert's vehicle, the first single-cylinder gasoline automobile, hit a tree root, causing the car to go out of control and smash into a hitching post. As you can imagine, there were no street signs, warning signs, traffic lights, cops, driver's education, driver's license, brake lights, safety indicators, and of course, no speed limits. Politicians, police, judges, they all debated how to control that automobile. What was the law of the road and who was guilty or innocent in the cases of lawsuit and litigation. The Law of the Automobile, a book first published in 1906 by an attorney, discussed the legal ramifications of new concepts such as speeding, the purpose and function of the street, and the rights of pedestrians and unprotected children who are playing in the road. You can imagine they didn't have playgrounds back then. So serious debate was held in courtrooms and in editorials over whether the automobile was inherently evil. The state of Georgia's Court of Appeals wrote, automobiles are to be classed with ferocious animals, and the law relating to the duty of owners of such animals is to be applied. However, they are not to be classed with bad dogs, vicious fools, evil disposed mules, and the like. So as we sit here today and we think about the future of mobility for us, and we sit here and think about what our forefathers went through to give us the infrastructure that we have today to control this thing called the automobile, you know, they went through a cultural change. And that's what we have to do today here in the Upstate. We have a cultural change to make. And if you think about that slide that was shown earlier about the public school system and the number of employees and students that we have engaged in the public school system, you know, just as an example, just think if the drop-off line was cleaned out, right? And we could drive right on by through that school zone. And if kids thought riding the bus was cool, and they started at a young age and then continued public transportation as they became adults. As a collective team committed to our community, let's continue to be innovative to facilitate the mobility of people and goods through our region. Developing a regional strategy is imperative for the success of this region. In the spirit of continuous improvement, which we have here in the Upstate, and always wanting to move the needle forward, we have a tremendous challenge ahead of us. And more than ever in the past, we need volunteers, we need sponsors, we need support from leaders, civic leaders, to help us think differently about mobility and what it might look like in the future. I want to challenge each and every one of you in this room to roll up your sleeves and get involved, because there are a few of you in the room that are still kind of, you know, want to be involved but not sure if we're quite supportive or what this might look like. But get involved, understand it, and more importantly, impact not only you and the people around you, but your organization and the companies that you're involved with. Again, I'll end by thanking everybody for being here today and thank Ted at the top for providing the leadership for bringing all of us together. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Keith Scott. I'm the Transit Director for the City of Anderson's Electric City Transit System in Anderson. First of all, let me give a quick shout out to our mayor, Mayor Roberts. For the 19 years that I have been involved in transportation in Anderson, I have only had support from our mayor and city council there. So again, thank you so much for your continued support. As a transportation provider in my community, I've had a number of the same conversations that we've heard about here today. We've talked about gaps in transportation. We've talked about the islands that people live on in our community and have no way to get to work, to school, to worship, to medical appointments, and to shop. Shortly after having a lot of these conversations, it appeared that the number of individuals and organizations that sat in the chairs around the table was getting smaller. A few months later, we saw that the table that had once been full were now down to only the transportation providers to hopefully solve all of these needs and issues. The providers cannot solve all of these needs and issues on their own. The tables that were full were now empty. For the last 2 years, I served as president of the Transportation Association of South Carolina. Our board's role was to serve as advocates for public transportation all across the state. These providers are public transit providers, human service agencies that offer senior transportation, disabled transportation, special needs transportation. We serve university transportation, nonprofit agencies, and Medicaid transportation. And once again, we found in all the meetings that we had and all the conversations that we had, the transportation providers were the only ones left at the table to solve the problems. The excitement for us today, for all the transportation providers in the room and all in the upstate, are that we're seeing the tables start to fill up again. With businesses and organizations and individuals willing to help us develop a regional vision and regional strategies to help our transportation providers and our communities. It has been proven that we cannot do it alone. We need other partners at the table. Only together will we solve our upstate transportation and mobility needs and issues. The question of the day is, will you join us at the table? And how long will you stay there? We will soon see the tables, will we soon see the tables start to empty? Months from now, will we see them empty? Solving our transportation and mobility needs in the upstate will take years. The transportation providers in the upstate are committed to stay at the table for as long as it takes. Empty tables solve no problems. And empty tables serve no communities. All of you are welcome at this table. And together we will solve our community transportation and mobility needs. A lot of you around we've passed out some of the note cards, little postcards. Do all of you have those? Well, if you look up here and you ask us the question, what do you need? What do you need? Well, the answer to the question is, we need you. We need you to be at the table, and we need you to be our continued partner in this effort. So if you would, before you leave, take this postcard, fill it out. There's 6 different areas that you can participate in, and I'm sure one of those areas are more important to you than one of the others. If it was Sunday, we'd pass the plate. But it's not, it's Tuesday. But we're gonna ask you to fill out the postcard because we wanna know who was here and how, and if you're interested in helping us, because we will provide you a seat at the table. Thank you.
I hope you are as inspired as I am. Today's been a great opportunity to see the upstate in action. Thoughtful leaders sharing their insights, learning from one another, and coming together to collaborate. Remember, we're not just collaborating with each other. Our ultimate partner in all these efforts around mobility and connectivity is the future itself. That's why we call it Connecting the Future. I want to reiterate our thanks to our Connecting the Future sponsors, Duke Energy, Hollingsworth Funds, Jolly Foundation, and Michelin North America. In addition to the members of the advisory and technical committees who also helped move us to this point in the journey. I think one of the biggest things we can take away today is that transportation is an equalizer that levels the playing ground for everyone. It can mean the delivery of an economic advantage that provides us liftoff, that rocket fuel to propel more jobs and encourage new investment. This will help us create a region that can move people, goods, and services while maintaining, no, not just maintaining, but enhancing our quality of life. We now have a vision and some strategies to build on, but we must continue to move forward and to make sure we're making the choices that will positively affect mobility and transportation for all in the upstate. Please, as you fill out those forms and leave them, I hope that you'll become engaged. You'll help lead the region forward. I want to point out to you in your program today, there are more 10 at the top opportunities coming up. Please take a look at that. I would love to invite you both to A Cleaner Future and our 2018 Upstate Summit. Thank you for coming today, and we're now adjourned.